So every once in a while when I need inspiration on portrait photography, particularly one element of my work that's quite weak or can be weak, I turn to one famous photographer and icon for inspiration. I'm going to share with you what I admire about his work, give you a couple quotes, share some of his work, and hopefully that'll help you with your portrait photography. So most photographers that I teach in my online classes, my workshops, even a lot of my friends, even myself, we sort of stop working on the shot once we've nailed or we think we've nailed the light and the composition. And we can forget the most important ingredient, the one that actually makes a portrait connect, and that's the expression and the posture. That's where the character lives. That's the emotional anchor. That's the part that sticks with you when everything else about the light and composition fades. So I'll be honest here, honest with myself, honest with you guys. Expression and posture have always been the weaker part of my portrait photography. My strengths have always been light, context, and composition because I do a lot of environmental portraits, especially for my editorial assignment. And this really stems from my background, my training as a photographer. I started out as a photojournalist, as a documentary photographer, and on my assignments, while portraits were part of the job often, they were never quite the main focus, at least not for the kind of assignments that I was doing. They always felt quick and often rushed. Now, this helped me become really good at the 15-minute portrait or even the 5-minute portrait, but sometimes that speed becomes a habit that leaves out the soul that I'm trying to capture. Trying to capture someone's soul? Who am I? You get it. I'm missing like the soul of the person in my picture. So when I need to slow down, when I need to remind myself on how to dig deeper to get a more memorable portrait, who do I turn to? I turn to the iconic photographer Richard Avedon. And now if you're not somehow familiar with Richard Avedon, he's one of the greatest portrait photographers of the 20th century. His subjects included Marilyn Monroe, Malcolm X, Bob Dylan, Truman Capote, and tons of ordinary people in his famous In the American West series. But what made Avedon's work so powerful wasn't just who he photographed, it was how he photographed them. I can't tell you how bored I am with so many celebrity portraits that people think are good because the pictures are of celebrities, but they're not. They're just like average pictures and the people are interesting because people are interested in celebrities. Avedon wasn't that way. His images didn't come off that way. His style wasn't about that. He didn't rely on dramatic lighting or cinematic setups. His portraits were stripped down, white backgrounds, soft lighting, often shot with a giant 8x10 camera. And I see people mimic it a lot, and you see a lot of famous photographers mimic it, or even people photographing famous people, but the part they're leaving out is the character. That's what Avedon was able to capture so well. Quick note to today's sponsor, Wotan Craft Bags. Simply put, they make the best street and travel photography bags out there. They blend style and practicality perfectly, and the Modular Pilot series is my go-to bag for just about every assignment that I do. Check out their bags, straps, and much more using the affiliate link in the description box below. So, Avedon's process, how did he do this? How did he capture that? How did he make an interesting picture with such a minimalistic setup? Well, he didn't just pose people. He would talk to them. He engaged. He provoked. He flattered, he challenged, he sometimes confused his subjects on purpose, pushing them emotionally, intellectually, waiting for something real to surface. He might shoot someone for hours, even multiple sittings, until he got that moment, the one that felt true. And that kind of emotional endurance, that kind of patience is something I try to carry in my own work, especially when I'm feeling stuck or I feel like I'm going through the motions with my portrait photography. Avedon once said, "My photographs don't go below the surface. They don't go below anything. They're readings of the surface. I have great faith in surfaces. A good one is full of clues." And that quote stuck with me. I like that because what he's really saying is this: you don't need to over-explain someone in a portrait. You don't need to force a narrative. You just need to observe the surface with care. The way someone sits, the way they hold their hands, the way their eyes drift when the mask drops, the expression that they give you when you ask something or when you engage with them. So what can you take away from Avedon's process, especially if you're new to portrait photography? I'll break down what I take away from it. One is strip it down. Don't let your gear or your backdrop do the emotional heavy lifting. Avedon worked with a plain white background. You can do the same with a clean wall with some soft light. When you remove distractions, you start to really see the person for who they are. Number two, talk to the subject. I can't stress this enough. Talk while you shoot. Ask questions. Be curious. You're not pressing a button, you're building a moment. Try this. Ask your subject something unexpected. Not how was your day, but when was the last time you felt proud of yourself? And then even if you don't use that exact photo, the emotional shift that question triggers will ripple through the next few frames. So talk and shoot simultaneously. Might not always be appropriate to provoke, but could work. A lot of things I'm saying today require context. The next thing I learned from him is posture is storytelling. A slump, a lean, a closed stance, a shoulder twist. They aren't just poses, they're clues. Start paying attention to how posture feels, not just how it looks. And instead of going through the motions and directing in a very boring way with simple cues like, okay, can you stand up straight? Can you look this way? Try something like, can you stretch your spine like you're about to walk into a room full of people you admire? Again, you're gonna have to figure out what fits your personality and obviously in the context of what you're shooting, but the emotional context helps posture feel more natural and expressive. Another thing I learned from him is the best images come after your subject thinks you're finished. That exhale moment, the letdown, the realness. Don't put your camera down too early. That could be at the end of the shoot or before you're about to break or before a wardrobe change. Just be ready for that little moment. Maybe they're talking to an assistant. Maybe they're talking to someone off camera. Maybe they're just having a moment of thought. Don't put your camera down. Have that documentary attitude, that documentary precision and readiness even in your portrait photography. Next thing I learned from him is to sort of ditch the checklist. This is something I'm still working on. Sometimes I go into a shoot with too many must-haves in my head. I need this shot, I need that setup, I need this expression. But the truth is, the best portraits usually come from listening, not controlling. Take Avedon's mindset. Let the session reveal something, not perform something. My closing thoughts here today is you don't need a giant camera or an old 8x10 camera or celebrity clients to shoot like someone who cares. You just need to slow down, to engage, and to make the person in front of your lens feel like they're sitting for something meaningful. Again, I'll leave you with this quote by Avedon. My photographs don't go below the surface. They don't go below anything. They're readings of the surface. I have great faith in surfaces. A good one is full of clues. It's a great quote. Even the surface can tell a story if you're paying attention. So that's what I learned from Richard Avedon. Open up one of his books. If you can't get access to one of his books, his work really should be seen in print, but if you can't, go to the Richard Avedon Foundation. You can find his work online. Look at how he photographs celebrities and just everyday people. He's quite amazing at capturing little snippets of their personality, little moments in time in his portrait photography. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to check out my online store where I have one-on-one coaching, open Q&A sessions. If you're interested in talking to me just for an hour, have some questions open to pros, amateurs, all levels, interested in all genres. I have a mentorship program. I also have my Central Vietnam Photography Workshop. This December, we have 2 slots left. It's an all-inclusive workshop once you get here. The learning experience of a lifetime. Check all that and more at askmott.com. Thank you to Wotencraft for sponsoring this episode. They make the best camera bags I've ever used. Don't go out and buy a bag if you don't need one, but if you are on the market, use the affiliate link in the description box below. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to have a wonderful day.